thanks for watching. Today I'm going to start working on the underlayer that I call the dead layer, or that's called the dead layer for this painting. And I'm going to show you how I mix the palette for that layer. I've had a few people ask, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a video for that. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so for this layer, I typically use Old Holland classic oils, but for the sake of bulk, I use, on this particular layer, I use Ultrek artist colors, and the ultramarine blue, burnt umber, cadmium yellow, that's cadmium yellow light, and also we'll use titanium white. Just put the paint out here. Try not to get it all over your hands like I just did. I'm going to mix up a batch. Okay, now what you want to do is have about 60% ultramarine blue, 40% burnt umber, and then like 5 to 8% of this cadmium yellow, and I'll show you how I do that. First of all, I'll take the ultramarine blue, and get a little more of that, and then about 40% of that mixture of the burnt umber. I try and mix the appropriate proportions up here, but I sometimes modify those. I'll take those two and mix them together. This will give me a really nice black with these two colors. I never use black in any of my paintings. I always use this mixture of about 60-40 ultramarine blue to burnt umber. It gives you a nice rich black. Once I have that color mixed, I'll add to that what I would imagine would be 5% or so of cadmium yellow. This is just going to give it a slight olive hue. It's not going to, once I mix this together, it's still going to be pretty much black. It's not going to lighten it very much. It will slightly lighten it, but it shouldn't be very noticeable. If it lightens it significantly, you'll probably want to add more blue and brown just to darken it back up. What you're after here is a very dark green that should appear black, basically. Let's get this mixed nice and dark. I'll just take some of this and move it over here. And that's going to be my darkest color. I'm going to clean my palette knife off here, and then at the other end We're just going to use straight titanium white. You can use flake white. I use titanium white because it has similar opaque qualities to flake white, but it dries much faster. Flake white is probably a better pigment, but it dries much slower, and this is going to be my underpainting. I want it to dry relatively quickly. So this is just titanium white. I'm going to take some of this titanium white and move it down here. And that's going to be my lightest color on my palette. I'm going to clean this a little bit. So once I get to this stage, I'm ready to start mixing my colors. Now I usually mix, well, I always mix 7 tones total. So 1 is the lightest, 7 is going to be the darkest that I just mixed. I'm going to start off with mostly titanium white on this color, and I'm just going to add a small amount of my black mixture. Now I mix these up to where I think they should be, and I hold them over the adjacent colors just to verify. This one might be slightly too dark, I'm not sure for this step, but I always end up mixing the first one a little bit too light, so I like to go a little bit darker than I think it needs to be. Okay, so for that one's done. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more of the titanium here for my next step and add a little more of the black mixture. Try and add little, when you have to modify the color, you want to try and add small quantities. You can always add more if you need it, but once you get it too dark, it's really much harder to lighten the color than it is to darken it. So. When I get to this stage, I go back over all the colors and double check them, and the way that I do that is this. First I just look at them to see if they look like they're going in about even intervals. Sometimes it looks wrong at the very bottom and at the very top, but the way you check those, just to verify, is, or the way I do it, you know, come up with your own way if you want. I take this color and I put it on here, and I'm not sure if you can tell in the camera because of the glare, but I hold the colors over each one. And it should actually appear like more of a difference in tone when you actually hold it over. But what I'm looking for is the same approximate amount of change in each step, going down and going up. It should be about the same amount. And it's just a judgment call, but I can see right here, this one seems like a much bigger jump up than it is down. So this one probably needs to be slightly darker. So that's how I mix my palette for the dead layer. I do that every day when I'm painting the dead layer. This particular painting will probably take 2-3 days. Probably work on the skin and the shirt. So good luck.